Welcome, my wandering soul. I'm so happy you found your way here. Please, take a seat. Today's reading feels like a mystery, something that is meant to reach you right where you are. You may not have come today with a clear question, yet there's an energy here that wants to be shared with you. Trust that the message you're drawn to will find its way to you in the way that you need it the most right now. Having said that, do remember that the cards I draw today are not about telling the future or giving you instruction. They are here to offer a fresh perspective and to help you reflect on your own inner wisdom and to remind you of the power that you already carry to shape your future. If today's message doesn't feel like yours, it may be for another traveler, or it may reveal itself when you return on a different day. Take what resonates and please leave the rest. I've prepared 3 piles for you to choose from, as I had a feeling you would come in today. So take a few deep breaths, settle in, and set an intention to receive what serves you most right now. And when you are ready, follow your intuition to the pile that calls to you the most, and you'll find the timestamps for each one in the description box. If you'd like a close-up of the piles to help you make your selection, let me do that right now. For Soul Path 1, we have Time for a Nap with the number 24, and the orange calcite stone. For Soul Path 2, we have Time to Go with number 45, with the crazy lace agate stone. And for Soul Path number 3, we have Deep Knowing with number 43, and the New Jade stone. So when you feel called and ready, choose one of the soul paths that call to you the most, and I look forward to connecting with you in your reading. Hello, Soul Path 1. Welcome into your reading. You chose the orange calcite with the time for a nap. I feel like your energy is being drawn to 2 places right now. So there's an energy of work and productivity and responsibility and tasks, but there's also this underlying desire to rest, to find ease, comfort, security. There's a life force that I feel you are trying to recover in some regard, but I don't think productivity is going to be the way that happens. I think the recovery of your energy, of your joy, of your spirit, or your inspiration will come in stillness or when you find yourself at rest, whether that is sleeping, whether that is not working, or simply relaxing. I feel like your nervous system, particularly the solar plexus, needs some kind of respite. There's been an energy drain, and there's a feeling that you have to find a moment to take a break. And my door, which isn't quite closed, slowly opening. So to me, that tells me that once this break that you offer yourself is given, you give yourself permission to take this break, is what I'm hearing, that a door will slowly start opening again. And I don't know if that's a new opportunity or a new inspiration, but it's okay to rest. It's okay to pause. it almost feels unsafe for some of you to do that. That if you do pause, that means something's going to happen. So you're constantly on guard. And that could be what's draining your energy or your energetic or spiritual resources right now. So it's learning to be okay resting, and resting in a way that completely brings your guard down. That might mean putting your phone away completely in another room, or locking it in the car, or stuffing it somewhere where you can't hear it vibrate or ring. It may mean not socializing for a time. It may mean breathing. But there's something about not being on guard and allowing your nervous system to settle. So let's see what the tarot has to tell us today about your situation. And please let me know if you have any questions or would like to share some of your story in the comment section. I would love to hear. So we're going to pull a couple of cards on the situation, a couple of cards on the challenge, and a couple of cards for some guidance and advice to help you through whatever it is you're moving through. So 2 cards for the situation. What can you tell us about the situation for Soul Path 1, please? We have the Emperor in the reverse. So there's something about control. I'm not sure if that's you trying to control a situation, and that's where your life force or your energy is going. And we have the Lovers in the reverse. So we have 2 major arcana cards. This feels like a significant pillar in your life, whatever it might be. So it could be a partnership, it could be a relationship, a close relationship that you have with someone. And there is a need for control within the situation. Or maybe somebody is trying to control you to a certain degree. But there's something that feels a little misaligned here. And that possibly needs to be addressed in some way. The balance needs to be restored. You possibly are giving your power away to a specific situation, person, or circumstance. And what you don't realize is that you are more powerful than you think. And the power comes through choice. Not just any choice, the choices that align to your joy, to your growth. And sometimes that growth doesn't feel good. Stepping into that power doesn't feel good, but it is for our highest good. It is for our long-term joy, success, expansion. So there's something about reclaiming your power here. Bottom of the deck, we do have the 6 of Swords, which is clarifying these 2 cards. And that tells me there's a sticky situation that you are in. It does feel very sticky. It feels like you may not feel you have choices in this. There's no good outcome that you can foresee. And it might be making a new choice creates a storm. And it seemingly shifts the balance of power. But I feel that might be important here, because you need to draw your power back and have confidence in your vision of your future, of the thing that you want to create, that you want to nurture, that you want to commit to in the long term. I feel there's some suppression of pleasure or joy here. And so there's a mindset shift that is required in order for you to move on from this, in order for you to see things from a new perspective. And that may not happen all on your own. You may need some assistance to provide that perspective. So let's see what else the cards have to say about the challenge that you might need to overcome in this situation. So we have the Ace of Cups and the Wheel of Fortune with the Queen of Wands in reverse. There's something about divine timing here. And the Queen of Wands in reverse. When she's in reverse there, it's again a powerless energy of not being motivated or inspired to take action. This could be for a number of reasons, but the challenge is to reclaim that power, to nurture that, to become magnetic through confidence, through maybe healing a sense of self-esteem that you have lost. And I feel that's going to happen in two ways. I feel like there is a sense of needing to see the love that you have within you and to provide a sense of self-love in this situation that you find yourself in. There could be a lot of guilt that you're putting on yourself, a lot of pressure you're putting on yourself. And that might be part of the suppression, is it may not be an external thing. This may be an inside job where you have played small and put yourself down, which has drained the power that you have to create the life and the energy that you want to have, the confidence that you would like to have. Love is coming out here in both the situation and the challenge. Now, the Lovers is a very big energy. It is about the love that we have for our life, for the things that we pursue in life, for the connections that we have in life. It is all encompassing. And right now that is in the reverse. So there's a disharmony on a very big level. But it could be because first you have to start with self. You have to start with reclaiming your confidence, reclaiming your self-esteem, reclaiming the love that you may have lost along this journey so far. And there's an element of timing. It feels like the right time. It feels like divine time. And that if you find yourself in a really uncomfortable place and almost at an energetic rock bottom, that it's time to reflect now. It's time to recover what was lost. It's time to pour into you now and reclaim. To fill yourself with joy, to fill yourself with words of kindness and compassion and grace, and to eliminate anything that is harmful, anyone that might be harmful, and seek support in that process. Self-love is not a feeling that we have. It develops over time, just like confidence. And self-love is created through action. And I feel a lot of things are going to change in this process. When the focus comes back into self, comes back into healing, comes back into self-love, that may come with some difficult and uncomfortable choices, that may come with a dismantling of certain storylines, of certain beliefs you've had about yourself. And this may mean that certain people or situations fall away, but know that while uncomfortable, if you are divinely guided to move in this direction, and it feels like the right time, and that you have the support systems in place to do so, when you are ready, I feel like a lot of things will start to fall away. It will feel turbulent, but starting with the self is the foundation for this change and will carry you through with ease and flow. You have gained the ability to know that you can protect yourself and lead yourself and guide yourself into what's next. So let's get some guidance. Knight of Swords, my dog. She just dangled my Koshi chimes. So to me, that's just a confirmation. Guidance. Guidance for my Soul Path 1. I love this. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm just going to move these over so we have room for all of the cards. So we have the Knight of Swords and the Nine of Cups. How you navigate this is exactly what we've been talking about. The Knight of Swords, they're a little bit of an immature energy, but sometimes that can be really helpful because with the Knights, they know enough to know what is correct, what is not. They may not do things perfectly. They may be a little impulsive, but when they know, they know. And they take action, not overthinking things, and maybe not even doing things in a very logical way. But they use their insights, their foresight, their knowledge, their truth to take action. And they do it in a way that is swift. It's like pulling a Band-Aid off. And I feel that's part of your guidance here. Especially if something is festering. Especially if something feels disempowering. It's time to take action to correct those and not doubt that. Because this is ultimately about your fulfillment, your happiness, the joy that you want to feel and express in your life. And so there may need to be a little bit of selfishness here. Because that is for the greatest good. That is for your greatest good. And it's about finding your abundance. Maybe even clarifying to yourself what that abundance looks like. And when you think about your ultimate joy, your abundance, the things that you want to attract in your life, what are the storylines that need to shift? What are the beliefs that come through that tell you you can't? Whose voice is that? I don't think that's yours. So something here is about rewriting the script. And you might have to do that in a journal so that you can really solidify the things that you want to attract, the things that you want to feel. And that may not mean in this new chapter that I feel you're entering, it may not mean that everything's perfect and that you won't have your challenges. But the effort is going to feel more worth it. The effort is going to feel inspiring. And I feel like it's not going to be as draining and suppressive as where you currently are. Because there's a confidence in knowing what you want and what you need in order to find happiness, even through the difficulty and the challenges. To know that you can feel fulfilled even within those difficulty and challenges. So there's something about correct action here. There's something about decisions, and decisions without guilt, without shame, without overthinking. And then the Knight of Pentacles in reverse here at the bottom tells me that there could be some setbacks. There could also be a shift in focus here as well. Maybe even a shift in how you approach something. That might be required because the nights are usually similar in nature, where it's about movement. But the Knight of Pentacles is very practical. There's a little bit of a slower energy at play because there's a action that's taken and a pause. It's very meticulous, it's very mindful, it is very focused, and that can get you stuck when you stay in that energy when a new energy is required. And I feel that that's what's happening here, is to not get too tied up in the details of things, because that could keep you stuck in place for a time. But this also says to pause first, to reflect as part of the challenge, because there will be some review that is required in order to gather information on what it is that you need, what it is that you desire, what is it that's lacking or that you'd like to shift. There's a solidification of that is required first in order for you to make decisions towards your ultimate fulfillment, your ultimate satisfaction. So, coming back to the very beginning, I think that is why time for a nap is coming through, is that there is a pause required. There is a reflection that is required in that pause. However you see that pause coming through in reality is going to be different for everyone. But I do feel that ultimately, this pause, I'm hearing pause before the storm. And the storm is going to happen when you've reached some kind of decision or truth about the situation, about yourself, about how you are speaking to yourself, treating yourself, what you believe about yourself. That needs to shift. And in that process, things change. Some things are done very quickly without too much thought. And I think there's going to be a relief in pressure. So it's almost like the steam is being released. And the steam is that storm. As that pressure is being released and removed, while it might feel chaotic and hot, there's a grander purpose for that release. But this is about building your foundations for your future, for what you want to call in, for what you want to leave behind, and calling your power back so that you can find more fulfillment on your path ahead. So these are the messages I have for you, my dear Soul Path 1. Thank you so much for visiting and sharing your story with me. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you so much luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon. Hello, my dear Soul Path 2. Welcome in. You have time to go, or you chose time to go, with the crazy lace agate stone. You're in the midst of crossing a bridge here. And I feel you're moving from one storyline or one life, one chapter to another. Something here is no longer serving you. And I feel there's an enthusiasm to know what's next, to move towards what's next. A lot of you in the collective here, I feel, are really excited about the shift. You're done with whatever it is that no longer serves you. There's a progression here of you have established something, established a foundation, established a truth. And you're moving into or through some kind of difficulty or change right now. And this could be a small change, it could be multiple changes, and they could be pretty significant. And you chose the crazy lace agate, and the word crazy which I usually don't use, but this is what the stone is called. I feel like some of you are questioning your decisions because it feels out of character, or it feels different than what you've done before. You feel like you've lost your mind in some way because you've made some kind of decision or are making a change that doesn't feel like you, but at the same time feels so much like you. It feels like this change is what your soul has needed for quite some time. And there's something about reigniting a spark. So there's fresh energy coming in because of this change, this shift, this movement that you are making. And it's interesting, I'm seeing these stars fall away from her. And so there's a feeling that what other people might see as success, you no longer identify that as success for yourself, or happiness, or whatever that star is. It's like you've been carrying other people's versions of happiness and success, and those are falling away. And you want to figure out what your North Star is, so you're moving in that direction. You're listening to maybe an intuitive calling or a guidance. I'm seeing the Star card and the Judgment card. We will see if those come through in your reading today. So while you might be experiencing change, I feel like there's a bittersweetness to it all. And please let me know if you have any questions or would like to share some of your story in the comment section. So let's get 2 cards to take a look at the situation that you're currently in and what you're looking to reveal the mystery on. For Soul Path 2. Okay, my friends, we have the Star card. Yes, our guidance was correct from the opening messages. Oh, my dear Soul Path 2. It is a bittersweet. It is a bittersweet journey. We have the Star card and the 5 of Cups with the 5 of Swords at the bottom here, looking at the current situation and where you find yourself. The bitterness is that there is change here. There's a feeling of loss, a grief, a sadness, an honoring of where you're coming from and what you've experienced. Maybe the love, the feelings that you once had that no longer feel the same as they once did. But I also feel you're relieving a certain sense of inner tension here. And maybe a tension with others. You're realizing that there's a certain situation that has maybe caused some kind of static in your life that you no longer want to participate in. And while you may still have love for this thing, this person, this situation, it's not in your highest good to stay there. So you are now on a quest of finding what's going to fulfill you, finding your purpose, finding what lights you up from the inside, and you're not looking to the external anymore for that. You are listening to your internal wisdom. You are following that intuitive guidance. And that's exactly what we talked about at the very beginning. You have a certain foundation within you that is going to help carry you through this. But it's not an easy one. There's a lot of, I want to say, truth that you have understood about yourself, which means that you're no longer fighting for something anymore. You have given way to the reality, and you are grieving what that is. You are grieving the loss, as you should, because you have invested some time and thoughts into whatever this is. But there's something greater that you want to experience in life. Something more fulfilling. Maybe you're on a healing journey, so there's something that you're healing here. And you're finally coming to this juncture where you can no longer stay where you are. It's time to move on to what you were destined to do and who you were destined to be, without the baggage of what was, without the heaviness of what was. You don't mind the discomfort, but it has to be for the right reasons, for the reasons that inspire you, for a grander purpose beyond this moment. You're chasing a wish that you have had possibly since childhood. And that wish sadly comes with loss. It's too many. But it also comes with a relief. Let's look at the challenges ahead. So you have the Eight of Pentacles and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. And the Hermit. This is a journey of your own that you have to welcome in. There's a touch of selfishness that I feel is going to be required to avoid getting sucked back into old patterns of behaviors or storylines, situations. So in the moment, I feel like there's a selfishness that is required, because I feel like this is for a higher good, a higher purpose, growth, expansion, etc. And not just for you, but others as well, that is connected to this. I feel along the journey you are going to learn and be challenged by receiving possibly good things, trusting and listening to your intuition, and maybe even receiving your own praise. That may have been difficult for you in the past, where you've given so much to other people. There's a people-pleasing aspect that's coming through, but I feel that's for a very small portion of you. But there's a focus here with the Eight of Pentacles. The Eight of Pentacles is a dedicated, very dedicated energy. And it's an energy of commitment and consistency. Knowing that the effort and the time that you're putting towards something that is meaningful will pay off, but it may not pay off in the way that you think. I think the payoff is going to be mostly internal first, and so you have to be okay receiving that self-validation and being proud of the work that you're doing, possibly in isolation. It's also going to require focus. So this is a time to focus on the work at hand and not focus on who do I have to take care of or whose needs need to be met at this time. Now, I will say that if you have children, if you are caretaking, that's an entirely different story. So take that as it resonates. But outside of those obligations that you are lovingly putting your energy into, I feel like this is a time to focus on the work that you need to do, the things that you need to learn in order to advance and progress towards your North Star. This isn't about giving back quite yet. I feel like you've done a lot of that in your past. So this is a time to give to yourself. And I said, be a little selfish. So if there's a course that you want to take, if there is a practice you want to get better at, this is about carving time for that. Maybe even investing in that particular thing for a time. 3 months is what I'm hearing. This could be a full year, 8 months. So there is a little bit of selfishness required because the focus is shifting. Your dedication is to doing something for yourself. And that might be a tough thing. That might be a challenge. But this is a journey that I don't think everyone can be a part of, and no one can do for you. So this is a journey for you to learn about yourself, to give back to yourself in some way. And maybe at some point in the future, you give back to others again. But not in a codependent way, not in a way that bypasses your own needs, your desires, and the time and energy that you should put into yourself every once in a while. I feel like there's a healthy balance being reestablished here, but it will require work. It will require dedication and consistency over a period of time. This isn't something that will happen overnight, so it's about showing up for that particular goal and that particular work day after day. So let's get some guidance now on how to move through this. We have the Page of Cups and the Knight of Pentacles with the Knight of Cups. Okay. So Page of Cups, Knight of Pentacles, and then the Knight of Cups in the reverse at the bottom of the deck. I feel like the movement will be different. You need to embrace moving in a different way, at a slower pace, but not to bypass how you've done something in the past, how you've emotionally invested in something in the past. This isn't just about following your heart. This is about following your heart in a playful, open way, but also in a very structured way as well, in a very mindful way, in a way that is focused. It's sort of focused energy. It's bringing in or drawing in that emotional energy to structure it in a way that is productive, is what I'm hearing. It's not about entering this new chapter, this new phase, with a full, open, vulnerable heart. There's a discernment here. There is a review. There is a structure and a routine. So having that open-mindedness and that open-heartedness and tapping into that imagination, but then structuring it in a way that it can be brought to the surface and brought into reality in a way that feels tangible. Having patience in that process, dedicating yourself to that, having focus. To me, these two energies are they're very complementary, but they're also very different. This is about having unstructured play and letting the mind wander, opening up to something new here, and doing it with great heart. But then when it comes to execution, this is about reining it in just a bit so that you can bring it into some kind of form, into some kind of real tangible thing. Now, this also may indicate multiple people around you at this time to help with this journey. This could be a child that you are reconnecting with, and that could be an inner child, that could be your own children, where you dedicate more time to play with them, to see how they respond to life, to see how they dive in and get creative and tap into their own sensitivities and ideas. But then harnessing that in some way. And the knight could be somebody in your life who is maybe younger than you, who is very grounded in their approach. I do feel like these are elements of you, though, where it's not about losing the dream. I feel you're reconnecting with some kind of dream here, but taking what you've learned in the challenge and applying it. Taking all this pentacle energy and your beautiful dreams, goals, visions, ideas, imaginations, and bringing it to life in a way that feels very light, that feels very playful still, and building something from it. You might even be building a business here, creating a business, leaving the 9 to 5 to step into something that you've always dreamed of doing. Regardless, I do see that you are connecting with a more playful energy, a more creative energy, and you're doing something with it now because it feels good. It feels heart-led, but not so much so where it's leading you astray or it can't be tamed or brought into reality, brought into form. It's not something that you're chasing. It's something that's now becoming real. So nurturing the inner child may be some guidance for you at this time. Connecting in with the dreams that may have been lost. And facing what needs to be faced in order to chase those dreams once again. To get creative and imaginative once again. And these could be metaphorical things like the way you think or act, what you believe, or it could be things in the tangible world that needs to be shifted or changed or adapted so that you can move towards this a little bit more. So these are the messages I have for you, my dear Soul Path 2. Thank you so much for visiting and sharing your story with me. It was such a pleasure, and I wish you all the luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon. Hello, Soul Path 3. Welcome in. You chose deep knowing with the new Jade Stone. I feel like you're connecting with something more intuitive within you. This could be your spirit guides. This could just be your inner knowing. Maybe you're starting to feel a deeper knowing about where you are in life, your path ahead. You could be seeing a lot of birds or feathers that clarify this connection to the spirit world, to your inner guidance, to your higher self. So I feel your higher self will share a message with you today that you need to know. And there's something about moon cycles here as well. So whether you are creating practices around the moon cycles, I'm seeing moon water, or this is a call to reflect on the rhythms and the cycles of your life. You could be in a very quiet period in your life right now. This may allow you to observe something that you haven't observed before. And I feel you might be, or have been, in this quiet period for some time. Maybe you're starting to feel a little lonely. So there's an isolation aspect to this. And I feel there's a message here to connect with either something greater than you, nature, the spirit world, a spiritual community, or with yourself. So there's an expansion that's happening in this space. This may feel like a setback, but this is the setback before the expansion happens. This is the inspiration for the expansion, for the foundations that you're seeking, the information that you're seeking. So again, it's about leaning into something here that may feel a little unknown. And the moon is about the mysteries, the secrets, the things that we can't quite see yet. And that might feel a little uncomfortable because we can't quite see the path forward. The moon only illuminates so much of the path. And all of the shadows feel scarier than they would in the daylight. So there could be something here about somebody's shadow coming through in the quietude of life. So this might be about working with that a little bit, understanding it a little bit more, understanding your shadow side, healing something there so that you can expand into, I'm hearing the light or new light. And please let me know if you have any questions or would like to share some of your story in the comment section. So let's see what the tarot has to say about the situation at hand and what mystery messages would like to come through for you today. We will take that as the first card. I feel that's relevant. For Soul Path 3, please. One more. Thank you. So all of the cards that are being pulled are either flipped over or are hidden in some regard. So I think there's a situation that you are in that feels very mysterious. Yeah, and we have the Devil. So there's our shadows. The shadows that are creating fear within us because we can't quite see what they are. We can't quite understand how to interpret them. Something's hidden here. And both of these are very dark cards as well. So we have the Three of Swords and the Three of Pentacles, more energy of expansion. So there is an aspect of healing here that is happening that you may not see right now. I feel like you're confronting a lot of fears. You're confronting a lot of heartbreak, heartache, some pains or some painful truths that have come about in your past. And this moment that you find yourself in, which I feel is very quiet, I'm hearing reflective. It's highlighting some fears, maybe some deep insecurities, possibly some toxic behaviors. And there's an element of fear that is keeping you from that expansion that you're looking for in your life. And this is natural when we get in states of fear, when we get into patterns that we're not quite aware of or that have gone unhealed. It's something that moves under the surface. And so I feel that is the situation you're finding yourself in, and that's what's being highlighted right now. That is uncomfortable and possibly difficult, but it is coming to the surface to be healed in some way. And with the Three of Pentacles in reverse, this makes me feel like there is some isolation or disconnection from possibly a community, maybe connections through work, some kind of network. And I don't know if that isolation is fueling that fear or fueling the situation, or if it's just part of the circumstances that you find yourself in. What I feel is happening in this space is that your heart is softening through the processing of what has happened. There's a compassion that's happening. I feel like there has been a loss of some kind. And it feels like a loss that was familiar, but may not have been healthy. That may have given you some kind of illusion that it was something more than it was. And in the end, it wasn't what you thought it was. So again, there's some aspect of mystery or secrets or unhealthy beliefs or toxic beliefs, patterns that are coming through. And this isn't to blame or to put fault, but to see it and not personalize it. To see it and understand it and not make it part of our story for the future. Because we've all found ourselves in these situations. It's part of what it illuminates in us and what we do moving forward. That's the big lesson. That's the power in this. So let's see the challenge to overcome, and then we'll get some guidance at the end. So again, more cards are flipping over and not being shown. So again, I do feel that it's about walking the path, and the secrets or the information will be revealed as you walk it. So we have the Six of Pentacles in reverse. At the bottom of the deck there, we have the Nine of Swords and the Nine of Pentacles. This is about focusing on you right now. There's a significant focus on you and how you manage your mental health, your mindset, the way you perceive something, how you're handling stress, the mental exhaustion or the worry that comes through in this experience, and how you are spending your time and energy moving through this. This is a returning home to self in a way. And again, we have more dark cards. So again, there's a lot of isolating energy here. There's a lot of mental processing on your own, and that may be needed at this time. But I also feel it's a challenge to do it all on your own. It may not be something that you can do on your own. And I feel it's because you have a worry about asking for help, or a concern about asking for help, and maybe some shame or guilt about that. I want you to relieve that if that is the case. Because this isn't about doing it all on your own for the sake of pride, for the sake of ego, for the sake of optics. This is about opening yourself up to receiving what you have so kindly given to others. Opening yourself up to ask for help, but also receive the help, knowing that you are deserving of it. Knowing that you may not be able to heal this on your own, and that it's okay to be vulnerable with people that you trust. That could be somebody you hire. That could be somebody close to you. This could be somebody in a community that you feel supported in. But I feel the challenge is to not only focus on self, but not do it alone. So it's about pulling your energy back to spend your time and energy and possibly money into the things that you find valuable for your future. You may not see it right now because you're stuck in a bit of rumination. But it's asking yourself, is this rumination helping me process? Or is it keeping me stuck in a story that has now been past, that is now gone, and that is in the past? Yeah, there's just a strong energy of not doing it all by yourself, and to think about the abundance that you would like to create for your life, knowing that you can have an abundant life with new people, new networks, new friends, new relationships, if that calls to you, a new job, new work, new business, what are those things that you would like to nurture in your life? What are the things that are helpful and what isn't right now? And that might be something to think about. You know, this is about rebuilding yourself in some way, in a way that's not rooted in fear and old patterns, old ways of thinking. This is about addressing that so that you can create something more abundant for yourself. But you have to be open to receive. You have to see yourself as worthy to receive. So that might be the first thing to start, is how do I feel when I receive? How do I receive, if at all? Do I feel guilty? Do I feel shame? Do I have a hard time accepting compliments in the simplest form of giving and receiving? How do I feel about compensation at work? Do I feel valuable? So I feel like this is a building up of not only your life and aligning to what you value, but how you see yourself, how you value yourself without the external validation, without having someone tell you how wonderful you are, but believing that for yourself first. So 2 more. Again, another hidden card. We have the Tower card, and that was sort of shy to come out. It flipped up, but again, it was hidden underneath. 1 more. So this is guidance. And I feel like the guidance is very powerful right now. It's tricky, but powerful. So you have the Tower and the 5 of Swords with the 10 of Wands in the upright. You've been carrying a lot of burdens and may carry a lot of burdens moving forward as you unpack something here, as you bring something to life here or bring something to light. I feel how to navigate this. There are some old structures that are asking to be removed from your life for good. I have a feeling it's part of this devil energy. Whatever is no longer serving your growth, your expansion, or your highest potential, I feel has to go. And that could be the things that go on in your mind, the stories, the beliefs, the core beliefs that aren't necessarily true, but maybe was imparted on you at a young age. This is about clearing the room to start fresh. And this could create some tension with people in your life. Maybe with friends, maybe with family members. But having the confidence to know, and again, I feel like there's going to be a lot of healing required first, which will create an environment that you feel strong enough to make certain decisions, healthy decisions in your life that will move you forward and not pull you back. So I think whatever you do to find healing, to heal your nervous system, is going to be worth it. It's going to be work, but it's going to be worthy work. Because it's going to move you away from the energies that have been painful and hurtful, that may have been a little tucked away until now. It's going to create room for new, beautiful things to grow based on how you feel about yourself, the value that you bring to this world, the gifts you bring to this world. You will attract new people, new opportunities based on that new frequency, not based in lack and fear, but based in empowerment, based on the stuff that maybe you've dreamed about, based on the abundance that you want to attract. It first starts with your nervous system and those core beliefs that may not be healthy or helpful. And that might be the tension, is that you're working, and I see you working to clear it out, as difficult as that might be, because it's unfamiliar to start telling yourself a new story when that's all you've known. But it's pushing through that barrier. It's breaking down that wall so that you can see what's next. And this Ten of Wands kind of tells it all. Yes, it was a lot of hard work, but look what you can see now. Your oasis, your abundance, the stuff of dreams, the treasure. But again, you have to know that you're worthy of that. And you have to be open to receive help along the way. To know that you don't have to do it alone. And that you still take the credit for doing the work, even if you have help. So maybe that's somewhere to start. A storyline to start with is receiving the help. It is at the core. It is at the root of this challenge. Is looking at how you give and receive, and how you feel giving and how you feel receiving, and how those dynamics have played out in relationships, in work, and whether or not they were helpful, whether they hindered you, whether they expanded you, whether they were pleasurable or burdensome. So while this is challenging, I love that as we go along this storyline here, it gets brighter. It gets a little more intense, but then the outcome is revealed. The treasures are seen. Only in hindsight, though. So it's about walking the path now, trusting your inner knowing, trusting in your resourcefulness, and being open to receiving help along the journey. So these are the messages I have for you, my dear Soul Path 3. Thank you for visiting and sharing your story with me. It was such a pleasure. And I wish you luck on your path ahead. Until we meet again, stay curious, and I'll see you soon.